So much of the talk ahead of this final has been about the dimensions of the MCG and whether New Zealand will be able to cope after having played all 8 of their matches on far smaller grounds back home. Brendan McCullum was quite confident that it wouldn't be an issue, but the fact remains that New Zealand last played here in February 2009, more than 6 years ago. Many of their players have never set foot on the MCG turf. So it is a big step up for them from having played most of their matches either at Eden Park or even smaller grounds in New Zealand. The one thing that they have coming into the game is form and confidence. They've played, as the cliche goes, brave cricket, and they've left nothing out there. And the captain's led the way in that sense. And he was asked today, is there such a thing as too much aggression? He said, no, I'm not going to change the way I play. I'm just going to go out and do the same thing. So I don't think we need to be worried about what to expect from New Zealand tomorrow. They'll bring out the same brand of cricket that's been so successful for them in this tournament so far, 8 straight wins, and most of them quite convincing wins as well. From Australia's side, they've really bounced back from that reverse at Eden Park against New Zealand. It's been steady consolidation after that. They've made a couple of difficult selection choices, eventually settled on an 11. I very much doubt they're going to change that before such a big game. And if you look at it, not just the dimensions of the MCG, you look at the balance of the two teams as well, you would have to say Australia are the favourites. Not only do they know the conditions well, they just have such strength and depth, especially with the batting. Somebody like Faulkner and Stark and Johnson coming in lower down the order, they can really belt the ball. You saw the impact that Johnson had in the semi-final against India, first with the bat, and that really sort of transformed the momentum towards the end of the innings. So you would have to say Australia are favourites, but the way New Zealand have been playing, it would be a very brave man who wrote them off. I think the key would be the 2 new ball spells. New Zealand have consistently taken wickets and swung the ball. Whether they can do it in these conditions remains to be seen. Tim Southee hasn't had the same success that he had against England in that group game since. Trent Bolt's been the main destroyer in most of the subsequent games. For Australia, Stark's been brilliant right through. Johnson showed signs in the last game that he's back to his best. And they just have so much depth there. I mean, Hazelwood was again brilliant against India. You just wonder about the spinners. If spin is a factor, then New Zealand have Vittori. Australia's response is Glenn Maxwell, who isn't really in the same class. If it comes down to that, but I don't think we are going to see a very spin-friendly wicket here, so it should be advantage Australia. I think just by a little bit, but you never know. If McCullum gets going, there's no boundary in the world, even this one, that's big enough to contain him.